Welcome back to the deep dive. We're looking at a figure today who is, well, he's frankly unavoidable.
hmm
If you work in business, if you're in sales, or if you've just walked through an airport bookstore, like ever, you have felt his influence.
Whether you know it or not.
Exactly. We're talking about Tony Robbins. But, and I want to be really clear about this up front, we aren't just looking at the motivational speeches or the Netflix doc.
No, and that's the common mistake, right? People see the giant teeth, the clapping, the firewalking, and that huge stadium energy, and they just categorize it as hype.
Right. It's just theatrics.
But when you actually dig into the source material, we have a massive stack today. I mean, his private journals, seminar transcripts, even a critical PhD-style investigative report, you realize you're looking at a very sophisticated business empire.
Built on a specific psychological framework.
Yes.
And that's the tension I want to explore.
Yeah.
Is the Robbins effect just a placebo? Is
Yeah.
it just this high-energy theater that makes you feel amazing for a weekend?
And then you crash on Tuesday.
Exactly. Or is there something concrete, something replicable underneath all that noise?
That's the mission. We're bypassing the seminar pitch to look at the machinery, the actual theory of the 6 human needs, the mechanics of state management, and, the business itself. Does the why hold up?
So for you listening, think of this as a toolkit. Can we pull out the actual utilities he uses to diagnose human behavior, yours, mine, anyone's, without buying the $5,000 ticket?
Right. And the best place to start is his core tool. If you've ever seen him do one of those interventions in an audience where he seems to just break someone down and rebuild them in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's intense.
He isn't just guessing. He's working off a mental checklist he calls the 6 human needs.
And the whole premise is that these 6 things, they govern all behavior.
Everything. From a mother sacrificing for her child to a cartel leader running an empire. The claim is they're both trying to meet the exact same needs.
Just with very, very different vehicles.
Wildly different vehicles.
Okay, so let's run through the first 4. He calls them the needs of the personality. First one is certainty.
Which is, basic survival, comfort, security, knowing the rent's paid. But Robbins points out this paradox that I think is really sharp. We all say we want total certainty.
A predictable life. No surprises.
Right. But if you actually had it, if you knew every word I was going to say, every single thing that would happen today, you wouldn't be happy.
You'd be bored out of your mind. Trapped.
Exactly. Which immediately triggers the second need, uncertainty or variety. We crave surprise, we crave challenge, new stuff.
So it's a push-pull. You need stability to feel safe.
But you need chaos to feel alive. And managing that tension is where most people get stuck.
Okay, so that brings us to number 3, which feels like the biggest driver in, the corporate world. And social media, for that matter. Significance.
Oh, absolutely. The need to feel unique, important, special.
And the sources make a really interesting point here, that these needs they're neutral. You can get significance by, curing a disease.
Or building a billion-dollar company. But you can also get significance by having the worst problem in the room. Or
by holding a gun to someone's head.
that's the darkest example in the literature, but it proves the point perfectly. In that moment, you are the most significant person in their world. You have total certainty they'll respond. It's a horrible, destructive vehicle, but it meets the needs.
Huh. So dysfunctional behavior is often just a bad way of meeting a good need.
Precisely. And then the 4th personality need is connection or love. Pretty straightforward. But the analysis in our notes says most people just stop there. They just cycle through those 4: certainty, variety, significance, connection.
So trying to balance the books, but never really fulfilled.
Never. And he argues you can meet all 4 of those perfectly and still be clinically depressed. Because the real juice, the actual satisfaction, comes from the last 2. The needs of the spirit.
Which are growth and contribution.
Expanding your capacity and serving something bigger than yourself. It sounds a bit like a greeting card, but the logic is solid. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not contributing, you have no purpose.
Okay, so that's the why. That's the diagnostic framework. But let's get into the mechanics, the how. Because the standard model for change is analytical. You think your way through a problem.
Right. The sequence is think, then feel, then act. Robbins just flips that whole circuit. His model is act, then feel, then think.
And this gets us to state management.
Yes. The entire argument is you cannot think your way out of a bad state. If you are physically exhausted, if you're stressed, your brain literally will not produce a creative solution. It's physiologically incapable. You have to change the biology first.
So he has this triad of state. 3 levers you can pull. The first is physiology.
Motion creates emotion. It's easy to mock the jumping around at the seminars, but there's real biology there. If you slump your shoulders, look down, breathe shallowly, you are sending a chemical signal to your nervous system to be depressed.
The source material had that hack, right? Go from slumped to superhero pose for just a few seconds.
And it changes your testosterone and cortisol levels. It's like rebooting your body's computer to reboot your brain. The second lever is focus. What you stare at, you feel.
Give me an example of that.
Okay, a business failure. You lose a client. If your focus is, why did I lose them? What's wrong with me? You feel defeated. Your brain answers the question you ask it.
But if you change the question,
If you shift your focus to, what did this make possible? What did I learn? You feel resourceful. The event is the same. The focus is different.
and the third lever is language.
Transformational vocabulary. This isn't just semantics. The words we use are labels for our chemical states. If you say, I am enraged, your body literally produces the chemistry of rage.
But if you downshift it to, I'm a little peeved,
The biochemical reaction is completely different. So the whole formula is change your state, which changes your story, the narrative you tell yourself, which then, and only then, reveals the right strategy.
that's a huge takeaway for anyone listening. We think we fail because of bad strategy.
But he argues you have a bad strategy because you're in a low state. Get into a peak state, and the strategy often just appears.
Okay, this idea of controlling your state leads us to another concept, which feels a little, I don't know, a bit sci-fi, priming.
It does feel that way until you look at the actual data. Our source stack had the famous Yale coffee study. It's just a classic piece of research.
This one is wild. Walk us through it.
Okay, so participants show up for a study. On the way up in the elevator, an actor, pretending to be a lab assistant, asks them, hey, can you hold my coffee for a second? While they scribble a note.
Just a totally random, everyday interaction.
Seemingly. Then the participant goes into a room, reads a description of a fictional character, and rates their personality. The only variable in the entire experiment was the temperature of that coffee they held.
Half held hot coffee, half held iced coffee.
Exactly. And the results were, they were insane. The people who held the iced coffee, 80% of them rated the character as cold, selfish, and mean.
Wow.
The people who held the hot coffee rated the exact same character as warm and generous, 81% of the time.
Just because their hands were warm a few minutes earlier.
That's priming. Physical sensation dictated psychological interpretation. So Robbins' argument is, look, if a cup of coffee can hijack your judgment of a stranger, what is the 24-hour news cycle doing to you? What is your social media feed doing?
You're being primed for negativity all day long.
All day. So he counters with this specific 10-minute priming routine. It's designed to break the brain's default survival mode, which is always looking for the weeds in the garden.
These 3 steps, right?
Yep. 3 minutes of gratitude, and not just thinking it, feeling it, stepping into a memory. Then 3 minutes of prayer or sending healing energy to family and friends. And finally, 3 minutes visualizing your top 3 goals for the day as already done.
It's basically setting your mental thermostat before the day even starts.
You're choosing the hot coffee perspective before a problem even hits you.
Let's shift to his decision-making framework. He talks about the 3 decisions that shape your destiny.
They map pretty closely to the state story strategy model. It's the 3 things we decide every single moment, usually unconsciously. 1, what am I going to focus on?
2, what does this mean?
And 3, what am I going to do about it? And that middle one, the meaning, that's the fulcrum.
Everything.
It is. If you lose a job, does it mean I'm a failure, or does it mean I'm finally free to do what I love? The event is neutral. The meaning is a choice.
Which links directly to his concept of neuroassociative conditioning, NSC.
Which is really just a fancy term for breaking a habit using classic behavioral psychology. We are driven to avoid pain and gain pleasure.
So to change a habit, you have to link massive immediate pain to the old behavior and massive pleasure to the new one.
And you have to interrupt the pattern, break the cycle. This all ties into an idea from his TED Talk about the difference between resources and resourcefulness.
Right. He was talking with Al Gore.
Yeah, and people love to say, I failed because I didn't have the money or I didn't have the time. The resources. In Gore's case, he didn't have the Supreme Court.
That's the ultimate excuse.
And Robbins argues that if you are resourceful enough, if you have the creativity, the determination, the passion, you will get the resources. It puts the responsibility right back on your internal state.
Okay, so we've covered the methodology. It sounds powerful. But we have to look at the other side. This PhD-style report in our sources takes a much colder look at the whole Robbins machine.
And it's so important that we do, because this is a high-margin, for-profit enterprise. The report points out that the seminars rely on something called high-arousal experiential design.
In English, that means.
It means the whole environment is engineered to create a biological response. The loud music, the chanting, the lack of sleep, the firewalk. These things spike your dopamine and adrenaline through the roof.
So you feel like you've had a breakthrough because your body is just chemically on another planet.
Exactly, but the critique is, does it stick? You feel like a god on Sunday, but on Tuesday, the music's gone, the adrenaline fades, and you're just you again.
And that's the evidence gap the report points to.
It is. The short-term motivational effects are undeniable. But there's a real lack of rigorous, independent, long-term studies on the durability of these changes without constant follow-up.
So the cynical view is that the business model solves a problem and helps create. The state wears off, so you need to buy the next seminar to get it back.
That's one way to look at the flywheel, yeah. The feeling of transformation is the product. The reality of sustained change is much harder work.
And the report mentions some legal and ethical stuff, too. We should touch on that for the full picture.
We should. There was an FTC settlement in the 90s about over-promising what people could earn. More recently, in 2019, investigative reports on allegations of inappropriate conduct at events, which he has vehemently denied, and refund disputes during the pandemic.
It's a reminder that it's a complex, aggressive corporation, not just a guru on a mountain.
It's a messy reality. You have these powerful tools wrapped in a very aggressive business. But I want to go back to that meaning concept, because his origin story, the Thanksgiving story, it just crystallizes everything.
Right. This is the foundation of his entire brand.
It's powerful. He's 11 years old, family's in chaos, no food for Thanksgiving, and a stranger knocks on the door and delivers boxes of groceries.
A pure act of charity.
But look at the two reactions. His father sees it, and the meaning he assigns is charity, which to him means, I am a failure, I can't provide. He focuses on the shame.
And Tony, standing right there, sees the exact same event.
And assigns a totally different meaning. He focuses on stranger's care. The meaning he took was, people are good, I'm not alone.
Same event, same groceries, two different meanings.
Two totally different lives. His father left the family shortly after. Tony used that meaning to start his basket brigade, which now feeds millions of people. It just proves the whole theory. It's not the event, it's the meaning you attach to it.
That is a solid place to land. So let's wrap this. If we distill the Robbins Toolkit, what are the key takeaways for people listening?
I'd say first, the 6 human needs. Use it as a checklist. Are you meeting your needs in healthy or unhealthy ways? Second, the triad of state physiology, focus, language. Change your body to change your mind.
And third, the power of meaning. You are the one who writes the story of what happens to you.
And the big caveat, don't mistake a peak state for a permanent trait. You have to do the work to condition it. Knowledge isn't power.
Execution is power.
That's it.
So here's the thought I want to leave you with. Go back to that concept of resourcefulness. If you feel stuck right now in your career or relationship, whatever, ask yourself this question. Are you truly lacking the resources to solve it? Or are you just in a state that's preventing you from being resourceful enough to find them?
That's the question.
Thanks for diving in with us. Catch you on the next one.